Retro Hangover is supported via Patreon by listeners like you. We would especially like to thank patrons Lyle McCarnes, Tony G, PM Shram, It's a Me Ferrario, Doug T from Core Gaming New Hampshire, Stud Still Smash the Milkman, Lucas from Game Over Hell, Randall Quiggle, Raging Demon from Command List, Poppy the Masked Keaton, JC, Ozzy Garcia, Megan Caruso, Retro Overdrive, Dave Jackson from Tales from the Backlog, Soha, Storm Beagle and Captain N from Retrotopia, The Emperor, Matt aka Stormageddon from Fun and Games and Reignite Podcasts, Van Fernal from Van Fernal's Retro Stream, Ryan, Keith Gasper from the Main Quest Podcast, Rick Firestone from Pixel Project Radio, Eric Guest from Unlockables, Ash Event, Alan Bingham from Saxbit, Mike the Ref from Backbreaker Gaming, Alt, Low 5 Alex from Low 5 Gaming, B Ross from Super Garbage Day, Oh Me, Sega Boy 7, Jared Breland, Riskel, Adam R, and Super Day from the Anime Field Guide. Your continued engagement and generous donations are deeply appreciated.
Open your ears and crack some beers. You are listening to the most recent episode of Retro Hangover.
Hello, retro and classic gamers. Welcome to the podcast where we're finagling facsimiles, foraging fruity forefathers. This is Retro Hangover. I am your co-host, Chris Copleen, with editor extraordinaire, Ashton Ruby, and, as always, your host, Shane. Title stealing Dick Dragon Salter.
Okay, first of all, you listen here. I earned those titles fair and square, and then I also meditated with the guru to the soothing words. So, thank you very much.
No negative thoughts.
You couldn't read it with your third eye? That means your chi is low. You need to get a better mantra.
There were so many words in that sentence that I vaguely understand.
So does this game. Welcome to Retro Hangover. We are talking about Faxanadu.
Wait,
Or
I thought it was Faxanadu.
No, it's Faxanadu.
No, nope. I'm sticking with it. Faxanadu sounds cooler.
I was about to say as many ignorant retro gamers pronounce as Faxanadu as has been displayed. And we are joined by the one and only extraordinary Ashton Ruby, who has reviewed this game before in the past for content. So
yes.
we're glad we can bring you back to do it again.
Yes, my review of this game is old enough to be reviewed on this show. It is that
Yes,
old.
for a while.
Yeah. 2011 was when I reviewed this game. It'll come up maybe, and it was going to come up in my personal history, but...
Oh, we'll get back to it then.
Yeah.
We'll circle around.
Yeah.
It'll come back up. 15 years. Holy shit. But before we get to the game du jour, we're going to be talking about which games that we have been playing lately. And, well, we don't really have any guests technically, but Ashton isn't on every episode. So to celebrate this occasion, Ashton can go first, and then myself and Shane will go over it. So, Ashton, what game have you been playing? Game or games have you been playing lately?
Sure, yeah. Two come to mind. The summer sale, Steam summer sale, was somewhat recent as of recording. I picked up Monster Hunter Wilds, I got into Monster Hunter when Monster Hunter World came out. A friend of mine suggested it, and we started playing it. A couple friends of mine and my sibling played Monster Hunter World, so I've been playing. I played World, the expansion. I played Rise when it came out, but I delayed on playing Monster Hunter Wilds when it first came up, mostly because I knew it might become an obsession. So I was kind of waiting for a good time that I would have some more free time, and it went on sale for the summer sale, so I finally picked that up. So that's probably that. I mean, that's definitely the one I've been playing mostly lately. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. If you like Monster Hunter games, it's fun to play. Been playing that. My twin sibling and I, Evan, we stream a few days a week on Twitch, and we've been playing a game called Barony on Twitch. It's a few years old, actually. It's actually, I think, old enough to be on the show. It's a little indie game. It's it's very old school dungeon crawler-esque, but with like 3D voxel style graphics. And it's pretty fun. It was like $2 on sale for the Steam summer sale. And we've been playing that. So we've got about 10 hours in that or so. It's pretty fun. And that's what I've been playing lately.
Good deal. Good deal. I'll go next year. It's going to be super brief. Other than stuff for the show, I've been playing nothing. I have nothing to update from last time that we had a discussion. I'm finding myself like at almost a complete loss for time. It's so depressing. But I have completed the next game for the show. And then I've started the game after that. So at least I'm trying to get ahead again. And maybe I can play another game. So I have something to talk about for this portion of the show. This is somewhat depressing. But I did notice that the shorter this is, there are people that might be happy, because I did notice in the YouTube comment that they tagged the time that we actually start talking about the game. So, yeah, this won't stress them too much, I can imagine. It is. It is. Upset some people, though. So I guess this is good news for you. I haven't been playing anything. How about you, Shane?
There you go.
Well, now I'm just going to spite. Oh, sorry. Our power just flickered.
Oh, awesome.
I told you.
Okay, cool.
While you did the little Moogle dance in the chat when I said there's a storm.
You know what's funny is literally like 30 seconds after I posted that, I heard thunder and I was like, fuck. Well, I guess if I drop out, you know why. But all right, anyway. Well, you know what? I'm just going to say that I played a whole bunch of games just to spite those people. This segment's going to go for 30 minutes. No, unfortunately, that is not the case. But I've sort of been playing something by proxy, kind of. So my wife's been playing the that newer Zelda game, the one where you actually play as Zelda. What's it called? I don't remember now.
Echoes of Time, I think.
Sure, that one. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep, we'll go with that. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, she's a big Zelda fan, so she was really excited
Echoes
to play
of Wisdom.
it. There you go, Echoes of Wisdom. The thing I
Echoes of Time is the Game Boy Color second episode of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not? And I have been kind of playing it in that she will hand it off to me for certain sections that she doesn't want to play.
Sure.
Like certain like combat things or like timed challenges and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm very conflicted about it, because on one hand, I'm just like, oh, we're sharing this experience. That's nice. I appreciate that. And then on the other hand, I'm like, but you're just giving me all of the shittiest parts of this game to play. So I don't know. You know, I guess maybe it's a break even, but that is really kind of the only other thing that I've been playing, except for what we're talking about today. Because I was trying to fit in time to play this in between usual life and then traveling for work and a whole bunch of stuff. So there you go.
Sweet. All right. Well, I guess that means it's time to talk about Faxanadu. Say it, Shane. Faxanadu.
Faxanadu.
I say Faxanadu also, but I'm not as cool as Chris.
I'm very disappointed with both of you. Very disappointed.
I also don't say Kine.
Kane.
Well,
it's Kane forever.
People will be disappointed with me on that, and I will stand by it. No shame. The Japanese need to learn how to spell.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not my fault. It's the Japanese fault. They did it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Shane, do a segue so I can start talking about this game.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to do it.
Do you want to talk about it? Go. No, because you're going to say Xanadu wrong. You know what? Okay. Shane, this is going to be great.
Mhm.
Shane,
Yes,
how
hello.
about you give us a brief history of Faxanadu?
I would love to. Welcome to another brief history where there isn't really much to say about a game's development. But I guess that means that we should answer the question that some of you who may not know are asking, what's with the name Faxanadu? Well, that starts in October of 1985 when Falcom released an action role-playing game called Xanadu Dragon Slayer 2 that came out for the Japanese exclusive PC-88 and other various Japanese PC models. Commonly just referred to as Xanadu, the game would become somewhat of a cultural hit in the PC gaming scene, being one of the best-selling PC role-playing games ever in the country. But there was a slight problem with Xanadu in terms of true broad appeal. It was balls-ass hard, for one, and it hated you, for two. Something that PC gamers may not have necessarily hated, but not exactly suited for a release on the massively popular Nintendo Famicom. Yes, even though we all know the term Nintendo hard, apparently games released for the PC gaming scene at that time were in a league beyond even that. But with the success of Xanadu on PC, it would make sense that some effort to bring a title in the series to the home console should be made. Except Falcom didn't do that. Instead, Hudson Soft did. In 1987, Falcom licensed the series name to Hudson Soft for a release of a game bearing the Xanadu moniker. And instead of just making a sequel or subtitled affair, Hudson decided to classify it for its title rather than anything else. The game they would make would be a version of Xanadu for the Famicom, a Famicom Xanadu, or a Faxanadu. Much how Dragon Quest would simplify the PC role-playing game for home audiences, so too would Faxanadu be a simplification of the game it shares a namesake with. Faxanadu would come to the Famicom less a full-blown stat-heavy action RPG, but rather an action platformer with progressional gates similar to Metroid. On November 16, 1987, Hudson Soft released Faxanadu in Japan. North America would get it almost 2 years later, in August of '89, and Europe would get it more than a year after that, on December 28th of 1990. Not much is listed about how Faxanadu was received by critics or the public at the time of release, save for Famitsu awarding it a solid 29 out of 40. And in terms of sales, there's nothing really listed. It's possible that it could have sold well, but that's only considering the fact that it's a very affordable game on the secondhand market. Retrospectively, however, it has received a decent amount of praise, with some more modern critics hailing it as a better version of heralded games like Zelda 2 and Castlevania 2. Since its release, Faxanadu has been relatively forgotten and mostly shelved, save for a release for the Wii Virtual Console back in 2011. But for some reason, it's a game that's typically fondly remembered by members of the retro gaming community. And that is your brief history of Faxanadu.
Thank you, Shane. I'm glad that you dropped the facts on that. You dropped some facts about Faxanadu.
I did. I mean, you know what? Knowing knowing where the name actually came from kind of helps with that. I'm not even going to lie. I had no idea that was the case. I was just like, I don't know, man. They just like put some consonants together and they're just like, that sounds cool. And that was it.
Yeah, there's actually a reason behind it. Believe it or not. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
How words work. The Japanese like their portmanteaus.
Well, what even is etymology?
Yeah. So you can say that maybe Pokemon doesn't exist because of Faxanadu. It wouldn't have existed without it.
I feel like that's kind of a stretch, but sure.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, video games having, just portmanteaus of names. Pokemon did it, but they weren't first. Faxanadu was before Pokemon. See the logic there?
Yeah,
I do. I just don't care enough.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. What was the reason this kind of landed on the docket? Why are we talking about Faxanadu?
Because you asked for it.
I feel like that's the question that a lot of people are probably asking right now. They're like, why the fuck are we talking about Faxanadu?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think you asked for it. I think you saw it on the schedule and you're like, can I talk about it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's, we'll get more into this. I saw that you didn't have a guest for the episode. This is a game I played when I was younger. And I said, yeah, I'll talk about Faxanadu.
There was no guest for Faxanadu. Crazy. Who would have thought?
Yeah, exactly. But, typically just, behind the scenes a little bit, the show, it's like anniversaries come up, or we'll have like Mega Man month or whatever. But what put Faxanadu on the radar for Retro Hangover? Like, I don't know. I'm genuinely asking. Chris and Shane.
I don't know.
I genuinely think it was me. I actually think it was me.
Was it? No, it was you.
Yeah.
It was. We talked about it on a flight or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this was one of the ones that, so a while back, quite a while now, towards the beginning of the show, somewhere around that time, actually, I had gone to our local retro video gaming hotspot, the video game rescue. Free shout out. You're welcome, Dustin. And I picked up at the time it was a Retron 2, 3, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I had this idea in my head that I was like, I'm going to start rebuying cartridges. And so I bought a handful of like NES cartridges to play on it. And this was one of them because I like vaguely remember seeing this game like a long time ago and liking the idea of it, mostly just based purely on like the artwork and stuff, because I'm always a sucker for good, medieval style shit. So that was really the extent of it. I think I was just like, yeah, man, that I remember that kind of, we should maybe talk about it. And it would be an excuse for me to finally actually play it. And I think that's how we got here. And I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't know if you need to apologize yet.
The last two words held a lot.
So, yeah.
for that whole story. Okay.
Yeah, sure. So I guess that's Shane's personal experience and also explains why we're talking about Faxanadu.
There you
go. There, two for one. I'll go next here. I don't know if I bought this game or if this was one of the games that Shane gave me because he didn't want to have it anymore. I don't know.
That's
complicated. Yeah, it's one of the two. I do know that this game was super cheap when it was bought because I still have the price sticker on it. Looks like it was from VGR. I may have bought it from VGR, but it was $5.99 at the time. It's now a $14 game somehow, but it was $5.99 when I bought it. So there you go. That's my brief history with Faxanadu. I bought it. That's at some point in time.
Great.
I can't remember why or when, or Shane may have given it to me. There it is. And then I decided to play it for this episode because we had an episode about it.
Yeah.
That Shane recommended.
And you streamed it.
Right,
was
Ashton.
that your first playthrough?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
check that out on youtube.com.
Yeah. I didn't play all of it.
Okay.
On the stream. Yeah. I played about half of it. So Yeah, I was like, this is not good streaming material. After I was like, okay, what do I do next? And I spent like half a stream just trying to figure out exactly what I was supposed to do. Because if I didn't do that, I'll get into the gameplay more. I'm not necessarily saying that as a condemnation, but if I didn't do that, I'd probably have to spend a lot more time with the game. And I'm trying to get ahead for the show. So time is at a premium. So I'm trying to kind of rush through things.
Sure.
To put it more bluntly. But how about yourself, Ashton?
Yeah, so this game falls into a category of games I remember playing. I remember fondly. But beyond that, I can't give you a lot of details. So I had older siblings that had an NES and they had games, and how they procured games, I don't know. Through parents, through subterfuge, I don't know. I didn't ask, but we had them. And so this was a game that I had. And really, what stands out in my memories is mostly the beginning, not getting very far. And as we'll probably elaborate at some point, is kind of the visuals and the audio, the music for the game. And so that's what I just remember having this game sort of around, you just kind of had games. Like I don't remember actually purchasing very many NES games, whether I was that young or I'm that old now. I remember getting some games I remember getting SNES games. Like I remember getting SimCity for Christmas and stuff like that. But NES cartridges, that we just had them. They just existed, Yeah,
they just sort of manifested in your house.
Yeah, exactly. So Faxanadu,
like disease carrying lettuce.
Yes. And as about the same shelf life, I think.
Yes.
Faxanadu is one of them. And so, yeah, that is my early memories of playing it when I was a kid. And so fast forward a decade or two, as you mentioned, this is a game that I reviewed in my, tenure at Classic Game Room. And so if you're interested, there is a brief review of this game and my experiences of it on YouTube from 2011 playing this game. I don't think much has changed, but yeah, that's my history with this game. Is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of cool sometimes to pull out those obscure titles, like everybody's played Mario and Metroid and Zelda and stuff like that. You're like, oh, did you play Faxanadu or Faxanadu? You're like, no, what's that? It's like, oh, let me tell you. That's my history with it. So yeah, had it growing up, reviewed it a few years later when retro gaming started to be a thing. And here we are again. And is that a circle? Is that, I don't know.
Time is a flat circle.
Yeah.
Is that I don't even, yeah.
Is this the third hump of the camel
wave
of some kind? Yeah.
And we love humps.
Yeah.
We love humping. Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
That is my, at least, recallable memory in history.
I have to ask, did you review the game because it came out on the Wii Virtual Console?
No, you know what? I mean, back then I had just kind of, so I had found this position at Classic Gamer. I started just as an editor, and I was like, oh, I play games too. And I had a very small review thing that I did in college where I reviewed video games. And they were like, oh, you can do reviews too if you want. I was like, cool. So I eventually became a reviewer also. And around that time, I lived with my sibling, Evan, my twin. And we had found at least the first that I remember, a used game store. This is a chain in our area. It's called the Exchange. And they had everything from Atari to whatever's current. And so we would go there and be like, oh, yeah, we played this game. And so in the review, I mentioned finding a copy of Faxanadu for $2 in the NES category. And so I probably have it somewhere in a box still. And so it was more just now YouTube and Instagram and everything, we have a content mill. Like before that was even like a thing that everybody does. There were people who made a living by just looking for content. And as sort of a retro gaming outlet, I was looking for games to talk about that I had played when I was younger. No, it wasn't necessarily anything to do with the Wii. It was just like I was coming across games again that I had played, and now I had an outlet to like play them again and talk about them, and get paid for it a little bit. And so that was just I was just kind of going through older games that I had played. So
that makes sense. I just find it funny that the timing is like aligns perfectly. That's cool. All right. So now it's time to get into the story and plot of Faxanadu. And as has become customary, when I can find the manual and the plot in there, I'm going to read it. Now, here's the funny thing is I can barely read the plot because they decided to use white against bright yellow on one part of it. So it might be very difficult to read. I might not be able to be as dramatic. Anyway, here we go. Game story from the manual of Faxanadu. The elf town, Aeolus, was once a town boasting peace and prosperity. Yet now it is on the verge of destruction. Meteorites are raining down upon the world tree, and crazed monsters have taken the opportunity to run amok. Wells are drying up, and people are in the grips of fear. To restore peace again, someone has to penetrate, giggity, the giant world tree and overthrow the evil one that lives in the evil place. Now, what? Now it is your mission to set out on a journey, bearing the hopes of the people of Aeolus. Aeolus? Areola? I do want to point out that on the next page, the art in this is actually, the manual's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like how it shows a map of your location of the world tree. It says shows like the elf town in the background is a castle, and then it has a tree. Now I understand what you were doing. I didn't really before. You're kind of climbing up a tree, so now that makes sense. And it says the fortress is Zenus. Oh boy. And at the bottom it says evil place.
Yeah, he's the evil one that lives in the evil place.
Just
right.
under
In
your
the evil
Zenus.
place.
Yeah.
It's just under your Zenus.
It's past the areola, over the Zenus.
After the giant wood.
Yeah, right.
You get to Zenus.
The Zenus. We talked about
That's
this.
the Zenus. The evil. It just says evil place. I love it. I love it. Let's see if there's anything else funny in here.
That's just a through line through the entire game. I mean, you get to a point also where they're just like, hey, man, you got to go to the Tower of Suffer. And you're like, oh, all right,
Yeah.
great. That's where I definitely want to go now.
Is that a nice place?
After that, you'll go to Have a Bad Time
Yeah.
and fight a guy.
The Fight a Guy dungeon. Legendary.
I don't know what I'm going to do there. No idea. Okay, so we kind of got into that. This game's story, kind of dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. Not atypical of an NES game, to be fair, but dumb. It's pretty dumb.
Well, so this kind of crosses. Well, it crosses over a couple different of our conversation topics, I guess, because it also goes into like presentation to some degree. But like,
yeah,
I'm real confused by what this game thinks these things are, or if it was just a matter of like bad translation, or okay,
I would say that
because like they're like, all right, we're the elves. Okay, cool. You're the elves. You live in like a world tree. I can get behind that. Sure. And then they're like, this meteor came down and like, then they woke up the dwarves or allowed them to get to the surface because they live underground or some shit. And there are mortal enemies and they want to fuck shit up. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can understand that too, to a certain degree. However, when you actually like see these dwarves, why the fuck do they just look like giant gargoyles? at least some of them. Like that, 0% do they look like dwarves. They're just like, yeah, this dwarf also this flying stone-esque looking creature with wings and claws and shoots fireballs, but that is a dwarf because we all know what dwarves canonically look like.
Wait, I'm leading more into the manual too. It says that when you continue, according to the manual, I don't know if this is canon or not, you're bringing the hero back to life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not continuing. You're bringing him back to life. What?
Yeah. You resurrect at the guru, which is definitely not just
Jesus?
a priest.
Yeah. So you control the elf Jesus.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he is the chosen one, according to the king, who, like, I love the king's approach to it too. It's very like on brand for royalty to some degree, right? Where he's just like, you show up and he's like, here's some money. That's all I can do for you. Get the fuck out. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I just throw money at my problems and hope it works out.
Go forth. I can't do this. That's supposed to be you. I've read the tablets that were stored in North America and written in English.
Yes,
is
the
completely
guru
valid.
Has foreseen this moment.
He has. Yeah. The guru said that I got to pay you money. He's like, go away.
Yeah.
Don't be my problem. Yeah.
I don't know if this is like the earliest example of it, but it's got to be an early example of like, if there were no plot, that would be bad. And we would notice it. And so they provide a plot.
Yeah. Sure. I didn't even know a meteorite fell, by the way.
Yeah. That's
They
apparently
say
key.
it like multiple times when you talk to the NPCs.
They mention it. I just don't know. I didn't know it fell. I just thought meteorites were just a thing.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you think they got there?
Well, how meteorites get there. I didn't know it was some sort of like...
From the sky?
Yes, that's how meteorites arrive. Yes. I just didn't know it was like central to the events of the story. It was just like a meteorite fell at some point in time. I didn't know that they were falling because of the fucking dwarves. Okay. Like I didn't know this was
No, it wasn't
the other way
because
around.
of the dwarves. No, the meteorites fell and like fucked up a bunch of shit in the world tree, but also kind of like opened up the underground to allow the dwarves to come out and start wreaking havoc.
fucking dwarves.
Yeah, man, they delved too deep.
So did the meteorite, apparently.
Giggity.
In the zeniths.
The only two things about this story that I wonder or question, is there some kind of translation issue? I don't want to say like not laziness, but like they weren't too worried about anyone. Again, like here's a plot. Be grateful you have a plot kind of mentality. So we'll translate it to be whatever. And so is there something better or more deep? Maybe not in the original translation. Or from the earlier games. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how central or important plots are in any of the Xanadu games either. They're largely just dungeon crawlers.
Yeah. The other thing is like, I always wondered like, where did this hero come from? Like he just kind of shows up. Like it implies that he has been away or something, or just kind of arrives at the right time or something like that. Again, is it important? Not really, but I'm just like curious. Like, was he summoned? Was he away? Was there some other thing going on that he's returned from and found out his hometown is now under some tragedy? I don't know. Again, not important, but I'm curious. I don't know.
Yeah, and he leaves at the end. Just like,
Well,
yeah, cool. I
bye.
saved the day. I'm out. Bye.
On to the next
Peace.
one. Chase some
Yeah.
meteors.
Yep. The plot, generally speaking, unimportant in this game. Does not matter. You just go fight the guys because that's a video game, and that's what you
It's
do.
a video game. It's D&D. You fight the goblins. Don't bother talking to them. They're just
The
bad.
kobolds.
Well, I mean, okay, this is the plot and writing section, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So before we move on to something else.
Oh, I was going to say something nice too. I want to hear what you say
All
first.
right,
It
cool.
might be the same. Yeah.
It seems very like simplistic now, of course, but I actually really did like the fact that the NPCs had different things to say at different times.
Yes.
So it was contextual based on what you had done to a certain degree. Obviously, it's not like you could go all the way back to the first town or some shit and they'll be like, you did all this really neat shit or whatever. Like, they're not going to keep track that far, but at least within like the general area of where you're at, the NPCs were set up in such a way that they will either say something that has to do with something you've done, or they will give you a different hint about what to do next. Now that, you had accomplished something that they may have talked about earlier. So it does really, I think they actually mentioned this. I don't know if it's in the instruction manual or if like literally an NPC says it, but the game very explicitly is like, you should really talk to everyone. Make sure you talk to everybody. And it's true because you do get a lot of actually fairly decent guidance advice a lot of the time. Just, breaking and entering into people's homes and talking to them. So, yeah.
That's why I wanted to bring up for all the shit we just gave it about not having a plot, because it doesn't. The plot is rather inconsequential, whatever. But what really stands out about Faxanadu and what the NPCs say and what is written in the game is that they don't give you garbage advice. They give you good advice. They give you relevant advice. You can actually figure out what you're supposed to do by talking to people. It's not too obscure. It's not just completely a flubbed translation. It's not like Castlevania 2 where you have NPCs that will lie to you and people are like, oh, that's just a translation error. No, in the Japanese version of Castlevania 2, they lie to you as well. So that game is just all sorts of trying to fuck you up. There's no saving that one in terms of writing. But in Faxanadu, and I think this is something we're going to be drawing some parallels to, maybe not. But Faxanadu does do a better job of telling you what to do than Zelda 2 and Castlevania 2 did. And that's kind of a complaint about those two games, amongst others. But if you want to talk about this game compared to those two games, and I think that's why I mentioned that, because there are a lot of parallels. That is something this game does a lot better than its contemporaries. Is it doesn't force you to have to use a guide. I used a guide for time's sake, but I don't think you have to. You can figure out exactly what you need to do by talking to people, which is how it should be.
I mean, I will slightly counter that a little in that though it is more straightforward than Castlevania 2, for instance, in the sake of fairness, in terms of plot direction, that's a pretty low bar because that game is just fucking unintelligible at certain points. But there were definitely a few times that I ran into situations with this game where I was like, okay, what do I do now? Because there's a lot of like back and forth. There's quite a bit of backtrack that like is required. Like you have to go back to certain NPCs to get certain things. And also there was one instance with one of the, I guess he's not a guru because those are just the priest dudes. I don't know what the fuck he's supposed to be called. The old man, the Noah ass looking guy, like that's near one of the fucking springs. You have to talk to him and then you have to talk to him immediately again to get the ruby ring. And that is for something that is as critical to the continuation of the game as that ring. It's a little weird that I don't think that was telegraphed quite as clearly, that you have to like purposefully talk to the same NPC like twice in a row. And like that's just one example of some of those little like idiosyncratic things that are not, it's not unique to this game for what it's worth. Like these things cropped up in other games of this era as well, but it is still there for sure. Cause I definitely had to go to the walkthrough on this one at least a good half dozen times.
Yeah. Anything additional to say? Or are we ready to move on to the gameplay? Because Shane kind of segued right into there, Ashton, unless you have something additional.
I'm thinking of the only thing that keeps coming to mind maybe because we've been talking about it, like Dragon Warrior is the other RPG that kind of comes to mind.
Yeah.
Came out, I think, the same time in the States, right?
Same year. Yep.
And that same thing about like talking to NPCs, that kind of, I guess it feels an antiquated kind of technique of like exhausting dialogue, I guess. And so were people more used to that back then? Or would you think, yeah, I need to talk to this NPC more than once, just make sure he doesn't repeat himself? I mean, I do that now, like in games that come out, like, especially like retro inspired games. I just keep talking to people and make sure they are repeating the dialogue so I don't miss anything. But yeah. No, as far as story, no, I think that's about it.
Yeah. To your point, yeah, I mean, there was a while in RPGs during this time, especially 16-bit era, I would talk to NPCs multiple times. For that, I mean, because there were those reasons, mostly because of working designs games, because they had additional text the more you talk to them, and sometimes it'd be fucking crazy, and that was part of the charm. But yeah, that was definitely something I did. I would talk to NPCs multiple times. I don't anymore. But there are games where, yeah, it behooves you to talk to them multiple times, especially in RPGs.
I don't know why the other game that always comes to my mind is Star Tropics, because I think like the first town, the only way to progress is to talk to everybody before you can like talk to the chieftain or something like that. That always comes in my mind of like, that's something you got to do in these games is like, if you're stuck, just make sure you talk to everybody, even the dog or whatever,
Twice.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, let's get into the gameplay proper. Shane kind of started getting into it here. I think we're going... I don't know. There are things I like about this game, and there are things I definitely don't. As noted before, this is mostly an action platformer. It does have some very light RPG elements. You can equip your character with various items like sword, shields, and armor. Mostly plate armor, body armor, and at the end of the game you get a helmet. Your experience points goes towards titles, but you don't really get a stat boost. All you get is the ability to come back to life with more money. That's what that does for you. But how does this game play exactly? I'll say in terms of gameplay, I thought this game controlled like crap. It does not feel good. It should have been a little bit tighter. It's a little too floaty. The attacks are just, I don't know. Attacking didn't feel good. Hit detection didn't feel good. That there is a lot about this game that just, it felt off in terms of pure gameplay. Like the ins and outs, the combat just felt bad. And that's what made this game. It felt like a B game. So when I'm hearing people say it's better than Castlevania and Zelda 2, I do think there are things it's better than, and I'll get to that in a moment. But controlling your character is definitely not one of them. Ashton, how do you feel about the gameplay in general? Well, with that being said.
Yeah, I think I tend to maybe be like too generous in this and come from the perspective of like, you got to get used to it. And once you're used to it, it feels okay, or you like compensate it. Like, and I think sometimes I forget like how much I'm compensating before I should really be saying like, oh, this is actually not good. I've just grown accustomed to like working, what's the phrase?
Stockholm syndrome for video game,
kind of like
gameplay.
How to work around it instead of working with it or something, like
yeah.
Or being like, well, that's just how it was back then in the late 80s, you had to kind of float around and try to get this guy before he gets you and knocks you off the cliff or whatever. Sometimes have again like trouble giving like an equal comparison of like this game versus Zelda versus Castlevania, if I haven't played them like back to back or whatever, which necessarily controlled better, or even like something totally different like a Mega Man or whatever. Anyway, all that to say that like I felt like I didn't feel like it was controlling bad. I just felt like I gotta meet this game where it's at and get used to it and find the rhythm or whatever. So if it's like jumping around and floating or being like way patient until I can time this attack right so I don't get knocked off by this thing flying around randomly or whatever. Yeah, I guess that's my general thoughts. Is it was more of the like it controlled fine, not ideal, but fine. I guess.
Shane.
So when I first booted this up, I immediately absolutely hated everything about it. I was like, this controls like shit. They're throwing like enemies at you before you even had a chance to get a fucking weapon. Like the jump is so well. Okay, it's not. I take that back. It's not the jump itself. It's the spacing. I guess they do not leave a lot of room for error. When it comes to some things, like the first two little fucking spiky things that you have to jump over to get to the king to even start the fucking game proper. You kind of have to really time the jump correctly because there is like almost zero room for error there, or you will just get hit. And you start with very low health anyway. So like on one hand, it's like I give it credit and it's in that it is following the thing that we always praise other games for, which is show, don't tell. Right. So like having an easy enemy to jump over there in that way is decent game design because it's like, oh, I don't have a weapon, so I can't fight this thing. I guess I need to avoid it. How can I do that? Jumping over it. Okay, great. You have learned a thing that you're going to have to do a lot for the rest of the game. Great. But I just don't think that it was, the sprites are not sized in such a way, or even I guess you could extend that to more like the hit boxes are not sized in such a way that it's like forgiving enough. And so it's really hard to time that shit right. And so the game feels real fucking bad at the beginning. Because then once you get the dagger, which is the first weapon that you are able to buy with the king's cash that he throws at you and tells you to leave, has a very, very short reach on it, which makes sense. It's a dagger. However, that also means that you have to get uncomfortably close to shit in order to hit it. You do have a projectile magic spell that you can use. And so I learned pretty quickly to use that for some of the enemies that jump around a lot, because trying to get close enough to hit them with a dagger is almost suicide. But then you also have a limited amount of magic that you can use before you can, recharge it back at a town or what have you. And so I really struggled at the beginning. It feels bad for the first part, but as soon as you get to the point where you buy the next weapon, when you're able to get the sword, that's where things started to turn around for me, because that gives you much more reach with your attack. And so honestly, I feel like that's where the game should have started. The dagger just shouldn't have been a thing. Like you should just start with the sword, because the dagger's almost useless. But that was kind of a turning point for me where I was like, okay, actually this doesn't feel quite as bad now. Like this made things better, like demonstrably better. It's still really rough. And this is something that I've talked about with other games of this era, specifically platformers like Castlevania and things like that, where it's like the enemies are far more agile than you are. And so you kind of feel like you're always at this like disadvantage, like you're moving through sludge while they're just like hopping circles around you. And that can definitely be frustrating. And you take a lot of hits that I feel like maybe otherwise you didn't really need to. The worst offender, or one of the worst offenders, are the flying death spirits, or whatever the actual like in-game name for them is. Those things just fly around the screen And I mean, there's bugs that do this too. So basically anything flying, because you move so sluggishly most of the time that anything that flies around is just like you are almost guaranteed to get hit in the face at least once. And so my first encounter with them, I was like, oh, fuck this. Like, this sucks. But again, and I feel like Chris might bring this up, so I'm going to get out in front of it now.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Dark Souls-esque approach to this where it is like, okay, these things do tend to move with patterns most of the time. So once you get accustomed to how the enemies act, you can get better at anticipating what they're going to do and therefore not taking a bunch of unnecessary damage. So I did find myself doing that to where I could kind of anticipate like their movement patterns and get better at being able to, kind of preempt them. So I think that is a point in the game's favor that you are able to do that if you, want to dedicate the attention to figuring that out. But all of that to say that I feel like I should color this with a very, very strong caveat, which is that I definitely abuse the shit out of save states to get through this.
Mm.
Good Lord. If I didn't, I wouldn't have continued to play the game as long as I did, because even with like the you can resurrect at a guru thing, potentially the amount of like ground that you would lose having to go back and replay a whole section, and no, absolutely not. There are some brutal areas of this game, and I want to touch on that, but I'm going to pause for a second so that, you guys can jump in with more of your thoughts. But I actually did not finish this game because I got to a point where I just could not. I was like, you know what? I think I'm done.
So I didn't necessarily think the game was all that hard. Then again, I was using a walkthrough. And once you use the walkthrough and you see this game can be complete in like 2 hours, and you understand the game flow, I kind of understood it. So to your point too, I think that once I got the longer weapon, the bigger sword, making sure that size matters here, getting into combat was a little bit easier. There was a general game flow I started to appreciate where I would start getting experience and money because I wanted to get the money for some item near the beginning of the game. I think it was the magic shield, which helps immensely early on because they shoot fireballs at you and then you take very little damage. And that was cool. Like having the ability and flexibility to do that. That was really nice. And another thing, while I'm talking about that, I like the fact that there's an open world element to this game that you could go back to the beginning of the game if you really wanted to at any point. And you can move back and forth. You don't like the back and forth. I understand that you were kind of mentioning that earlier, how there's a lot of backtracking. I think that kind of works within the game's design. And this is, an evolution of the Metroidvania, which I wanted to avoid in a brief history. I wanted to avoid that word, but it's definitely a proto that and a proto Metroidvania for sure. But like the combat, my biggest gripe with the combat is even once you get used to the enemies themselves, fighting bosses, it can either be too easy, but also frustrating at the same time. Because it's not like any boss in this game is doing anything remotely interesting in terms of its patterns, in terms of its attacks, or anything like that. It just throws bullshit at you. And so there's one boss that just kind of jumps back and forth. And I'm watching this playthrough, and the person who's playing this is just, they just kind of run up to it and just kind of attack it over and over again. I'm like, okay, let me try doing that. And then I do that and I just get hit for a ton of damage. I'm like, what in the hell am I doing wrong? I think I'm doing the same thing, but I get as close and apparently it's still hitting me. So that's where I'm saying like the hit detection gets a little wonky, especially for bigger, larger enemies. The attack patterns are kind of all over the place in that regard too. But like for the general enemies, yeah, I mean, it gets to a point where you can kind of flow through and each room has a set pattern to how they operate, which is nice for general navigation. But do I think this game gets particularly hard? It can if you're playing it legitimately because, once again, I knew how to navigate the rooms properly. But there's always a shortcut. There's always something to reward players who are willing to go out of their way to get like winged boots and try to reach areas that are navigatable through using those items. And knowing or just kind of exploring to where you get ointments and you can just kind of charge through areas without getting hit. And of course, it always helps to know the exact keys you need to have and how many of them in order to get between locations, because unlike being a normal game that once you use a key, that door is open permanently, you have to keep using the same key on the door over and over again. So
and
if you don't visit a guru,
the key when you use it.
Yep. So if you die and you don't have any keys and you die in an area before the key, you have to buy more keys. And if you lose an elixir, which revives you after you die, which is awesome, you have to go buy another elixir. There's not many elixirs in this game, and they're placed at very strange intervals. And having to remember where they're located, getting back to it, buying another one, not dying between the time you get there and back. Yeah, that can be a little irritating, especially when I found the controls, particularly jumping.
Yeah.
Jumping was painful. That's what really turned me off. But I like this is why I'm so conflicted, because it does have this open world and you do get into a good game flow, and eventually fighting your every common enemy feels good for the most part. But then it does have times where it's just like, as Shane said, it feels like it's being bullshit. It feels like it's straight being bullshit. It's not that it can't be it's compromised in some way. Like you can compromise with it, much like Ashton, you said with the battle system with combat. There is a way to meet it on its own terms. There is some Dark Souls ass shit in here where you learn, oh, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Oh, okay, I should have been doing that. That makes more sense. We'll do that. But if you're playing this legitimately and not watching any walkthroughs, this game is going to punish you 100%. It's going to let you know that it's not fucking around, and you're going to have to put more time than the 2 hours that you really need to beat this game. It's going to take some memorization and knowledge, and that's why you have these titles, and that's why like they give you all this gold at the beginning to essentially encourage you to buy red potions, which are awesome, and do the best you can.
All right. So I'm gonna jump back in here then and say that the point that I stopped at was when you needed to get the pendant, because they throw two of those bullshit ass gargoyles at you in a row.
Yep.
And also in the most bullshit ass way possible, because they're like, hey man, what if you wanted to climb up a ladder and have this motherfucker standing right next to it?
Climbing up ladders sucks.
Oh my God.
Climbing up ladders sucks.
Okay, so here's what happens, and this is what caused me to stop playing at this point. Even with quick saves, like that's why I said I can't fucking fathom playing this game like legit without a quick save, because I would climb, and this is with potions, mind you. I brought like 3 potions with me, and I had to burn 1 to even get to this point because apparently I suck. I don't know, but like I got there and I was like, all right, here we go. I'm ready, and I climb up the ladder. And douchebag gargoyle man is right there firing fireballs. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to wait on the ladder. I'm going to be strategic about this. Except he never gives you a point to where you can have enough time to climb up the rest of the ladder and get off the fucking ladder to actually start fighting him. So like, you just get hit. That's what's going to happen, is you're going to get hit. And then you finally get off the ladder. And if you don't move far enough away, this is the cycle that I got stuck in. And I wanted to throw my goddamn Steam Deck, which was, he was like, all right, you got off the ladder. Wouldn't it be funny if I hit you, which caused knockback, which makes you latch onto the ladder again. And then you can't attack. And so then you get stuck in this cycle of just like trying to get off a fucking ladder, and this gargoyle just keeps slapping you back onto it. And those motherfuckers can kill you in like 3 or 4 hits, by the way. They hit like trucks.
They can be brutal.
So
they can be brutal.
I was like, you know what? I think I'm fucking done. I think I've seen enough. I've seen it. I've seen enough. And that was it.
Shane.
It's like, I just don't, I didn't have it in me to keep going past that point.
Shane, something I'm about to tell you is going to probably make you very angry about
I'm
that
already
pendant.
angry. What?
You want me to tell you about the pendant?
Temporary?
No, it's worse than that. It's permanent. So do you know what the pendant's supposed to do?
Isn't it supposed to like increase your power or some shit?
Yes, that's what it's supposed to do. Do you want to know what it actually does?
Is it bugged? Does it do nothing?
It's worse than nothing.
Lovely.
So the
That's
bug,
worse than nothing.
the bug in the game is that by default, your character behaves as if they already have the pendant. Equipping the pendant makes them not have the pendant on anymore.
So
in
it
terms
makes
of
you
their stats.
weaker.
Yes.
Oh my fucking God. All right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're not supposed to get it. It's highly discouraged from you getting it.
How would you know that? How would you know that?
It's because it's a bug.
Yeah,
It's a bug.
because like if you're trying to play, like, dude, fuck me for trying to play this game legitimately to some degree. Like, I'll use quick saves because I don't hate myself, but I was like, you know what? I'll try to play this without relying entirely on a walkthrough. And so I was like, oh man, I gotta get a pendant because it's gonna make me more powerful and that's gonna help me in the game because that's how fucking video games work. And nope, that's great. I love that. That is so cool. 10 out of 10. Faxanadu, best RPG. God damn. Or that's like the glove, dude. Like you come across one of those areas where there's this fucking glove up on this little ledge that you can't get to. And I'm like, oh man, I should probably get that. That seems like it's an important thing. And so you go several screens over, fighting through a bunch of shit, climb up, and then go backwards to the left several screens, jumping without falling through cracks to get there, which by the way, some of these jumps, the spacing is like TMNT1 ass like spacing.
It's demonic.
Where
It's fucking
just the worst. And so like I finally, again, I quick saved this because I fell off like half a dozen times trying to get to this thing. And so I finally get to it and it's like, I've got the glove. I have increased attack power. And I'm like, fuck yeah. And so then I keep playing. Like 30 seconds later, fucking dialogue pops up and it's like, the effects of the glove have worn off. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like, what? I went through all of that for a temporary item. Are you shitting me right now? Oh,
Those temporary items can be awesome, though. Those temporary items can be awesome. The ointment,
The ointment is great.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It makes you invincible and like invisible. It is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can clear entire sections of the game using that motherfucker.
Yeah.
You can.
The glove is not
in
that.
order to get to the final boss in this game, if you have a pair of winged boots, you can get to the final dungeon. You get to the ledge at the very right side. You use the winged boots, and then you fly up into the right-hand corner. When you drop down, you get the ointment. You still have the boots, and you can get to the final boss without ever getting hit. You can defeat the boss without getting hit.
Cool.
Those are the little things about Faxanadu that are cool, that I love and I appreciate.
And 100% that would be something that if you were a kid and you were playing this over and over again because you only had like 3 games to play, that would definitely be something that I could see being a rewarding thing to figure out of like, oh man, I've played this so many times. I just figured out that I could do this and isn't that awesome? 100% I can see that. Outside of that very specific scenario though, who the fuck cares? Like you're not, no one's gonna know that.
They know it now. Now you know it.
Yes, and knowing is half the battle.
Probably more than half.
Ashton, you have a curious face. What do you got?
Yeah, I was, I guess, contemplating that idea of like, it is knowing that specific, like thinking of it like from a game design perspective, I guess. Yeah, like sometimes there are things in games that are like, we think back to the arcade and it's like, oh, they were trying to get quarters, or now it's on consoles. So now we're trying to get hours played, like figuring these things out. I guess it's whatever perspective you want to take. In 2026, is that adding to the appreciation of Faxanadu or not? I don't know. maybe not. But from Shane's perspective, sounds like probably not. My perspective also probably not.
No, and so that's the thing. Is like I actually felt pretty good about my progress in this game. Like I unironically got to a point where I was looking forward to continue my playthrough, just for the sake of fairness, because I know I've been kind of shitting on this. Like I was enjoying my time with it, but there were some things like that spot, which apparently was not required.
Nope.
Yeah.
Where it was just like, this is just bad. Like, it's not even that it's like challenging. It's straight unfair. Like and I think they really like to pull that ladder trick, because they do it a number of times where you'll come up and like one of the smaller air quotes dwarves, because I don't know what their idea of a dwarf was, but like with the little stabby sword, he's just standing there at the ladder, just thrusting his sword over and over and over again. And you're sitting there like, okay, well, fuck me, I guess. Like, I guess I'm just going to get hit now. Like, you don't even have a chance as a player to like avoid that. It just happens to you. And like, that's just frustratingly bad design, to be honest.
Did you encounter the enemies that were like pounding on drums that would just hit you if you were in the room with them?
Nope. Didn't get that far. Nope.
Yeah, there's a few of those. Fortunately, they were nice about that. They didn't put too many of those, but there were definitely areas where they had those enemies, and if you just stood around, if you took like 8 or 9 hits or something, you would die.
Cool. I mean, and there are some places, because there are some enemies, or most enemies, drop money so that you can buy things in town, food, like upgrades. But that was the other thing. I was just going to say, some other ones, select enemies, very like notably fewer enemy types, will drop food so that you don't have to entirely rely on things like potions or hauling your ass all the way back to a town to pay the exorbitant cost for the doctor to heal you, which is also funny, by the way, because I noticed that the same town, as you progress further, the doctor's price goes up. Like, it starts. Well,
that's why you never use the doctor. Don't use the doctor. That's dumb. You use the meat guy.
I mean, sure, I guess this doesn't heal you all the way though, but it probably
but
is
if
cheaper.
You use it like 3 times, the meat guy is cheaper and will heal you the entire way. That's cheaper than the doctor.
Well, maybe they were making some sort of fucking like social commentary with that one, because like the doctor in that town starts
I doubt that.
At 250 gold to heal you fully, and then after you get to a certain point of progress, you come back and he's like, 500, please, and you're like, wow, okay.
It's like the opposite of a deductible.
I'm getting fucking yeah, exactly. My insurance fucking sucks here. And then you go back out again, and then you come back. This motherfucker wants 1,000 gold to heal now. I'm just like,
it becomes like 2,500 by the end of the game.
Sir, you are the same doctor. You are performing the same service. What is happening?
It's cheaper to go get a red potion.
Yeah.
Because you need to refill your magic, and you can't do that with an item.
Right.
Which is fine.
But you can do it with smoked meats.
Yeah, you can. That's why you just get the smoked meats. Don't talk to the doctor. Eat meat.
Eat processed meat. That is much better for you than seeing a health care professional. That is what I'm taking away from this.
It's fresh meat. You're at a butcher. It's not processed.
I mean,
it's actually fresh.
What is define processed? I mean, is smoking the meat considered processing, Chris? I mean, how
it's cured?
How far down the rabbit hole does it go?
It's cured. You ever seen The Revenant? Cured curing meat.
DiCaprio eats that like raw buffalo, like that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah, it's like that.
Topical reference.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the only other thing really that I wanted to mention is that I do like how I don't want to use the word sparse because that has a negative connotation to it, but I guess focused. Let's go with focused. The focused amount of equipment items that you get throughout this game. And I generally like, this is coming from somebody who plays and loves Diablo, which is just a fucking loot fountain. But like, I do appreciate games that do this because it, much in the same way that we've talked about like our game libraries, you know, where you kind of have that decision paralysis and suddenly your games don't mean as much to you anymore when you have like 800 of them versus like 6. The same thing applies here, at least from my perspective, where it feels much better. Like it feels like much more of an accomplishment when you do get to like a new area or whatever, and there's like a new weapon, because there's only like what, 5 or 6 weapons in the game total. Same, yeah, same goes for like, you know, armor upgrades and things like that. So they're much more meaningful when they do occur. And I do really like that approach. Now, granted, I'm sure part of this was maybe some sort of just limitation of the game hardware, so on and so forth, memory constraints, what have you. But I think that it makes that progression just like much more impactful than, you know, finding a new upgrade every like 5 minutes.
I'll agree with that too. This bleeds into the presentation a little bit, but I also like how getting new bits of equipment change the way your character looks.
Yes,
which is cool,
and which was unusual game at the time. Yeah,
very unusual. I do appreciate that too. I do want to kind of double back to your point about how some of the enemies drop food, which will heal you. I actually think they're very well placed. Mm-hmm. I think that because you could, if you just charge forward and you don't stand by and farm to try to get, you know, your health back up. Yeah, I can see how it could become a little problematic. But I think like they're placed in such a way they almost expect you to farm those enemies in order to regain your health. I think that's very evident that the game's like, yeah, we know you're hurting right now, and here are some enemies that are generally like, a lot of them are really easy to kill too. That, hey, if you come back here, you can get your health back and you're going to be okay. So I do somewhat disagree with you. Yeah, there may not be a ton of them, but especially in the later games, you do have more occurrences of enemies that do drop health. They take a little bit more damage and they suck up a little bit more, but you do get more of them, and they are, I think, intelligently placed. So there's that. Anything else we want to capitalize here with the gameplay or discuss here while we're still in the area? I don't know why I said capitalize. That makes no sense. But do we have anything else to say about the gameplay?
One final thing. You mentioned it kind of on the outset or close to that of the thing where like you're some of the either the most powerful or the second most powerful, depending on whether you're talking about the shield or the magic spell in the entire game, is available like right in the first area.
Yeah, magic shield. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the death spell or whatever the hell it is. Those two there. I don't know how I feel about that, because like when I did look at a walkthrough, it was just like, you definitely should stop immediately here 10 minutes into the game and grind on these weak ass enemies to get like 7,500 gold to just get this weapon, like get this shield now, and the spell, which is another thousands of gold, because it's gonna make the game way easier and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't know if I like that as an approach, that they just put like near end game items at the beginning, and it's like, hey man, did you just start playing this game? Would you like to grind for 2 hours? Sure.
It's a choice though. You can.
You don't have to. Well, it is a choice, and I chose not to.
Yeah.
And you know, it's debatable on how my experience was because of that, because like I think if I had that shield that almost nearly negates magic attacks, then the shenanigans with those gargoyles probably would have been less painful. So yeah, I don't know. Like I just don't. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't feel like I like it that's there. It also kind of like weirdly short circuits what I was just talking about, which was that like feeling of meaningful progression from like one item upgrade to the next. It entirely, potentially, short circuits that entire thing if you do decide like, well, you know what? I'm just going to camp here and fight stuff forever to get that much gold, and get these like just right off the bat. It's just, I don't know. It's a weird design choice. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Kind of leaning towards I don't really like it, but yeah.
I like it. I like it. Because it is going to take up your time. And typically in these kind of games, you're going to want to go out and explore like, ooh, I can get the item. How much gold do I have? Oh, wow, this is going to take a long time. Well, I don't really need this, I think. Especially, like, you don't know what these are in relative to the overall scheme of things. You just know they're very expensive. And you're not making a ton of money. So I'm fine with it. I have no issues with it. And I made sure to get the shield. And I didn't read a walkthrough. I didn't read a walkthrough or even look at a walkthrough until I was like an hour or two into the game. Like playing it. And I personally elected to do that. I didn't even know the benefits. I was like, oh, here's an expensive item. I want it. I didn't know why. I was like, I just want it. And that's what I did. So I disagree. That's fine though. Do you like that or not, Ashton?
Yeah, it's hard to think in retrospect of like, now that we've had, what is it? Close to 40 years to think about what's the best way to play this game. What's the fastest way to get through it? What's quote unquote easier or in the end faster?
In the end, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I tried so hard.
But you didn't get so far. Not you.
I got like halfway-ish. I feel like that's enough. Also, I just want to point out, by the way, that they very clearly outline every item that you can get in the instruction manual of this game. So if you read the instruction manual when you bought this game, you most likely would be like, or you'd have it to reference. As soon as you saw that shop, you'd be like, oh, the magic shield and the death spell, those are like nearly end game. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's why it pays to read the manual, kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm slightly closer to where you are, Chris, where it's like, I think it's neat that it's an option. And I don't think that the quote unquote best way or the fastest way means the only way or the right way necessarily. It's just going to be different experiences of the game. Nowadays, I think games tend to cater toward different experiences where I can play this game and do it this way, or this. I can have a stealth build or a melee build or a magic build, and it all ends up working, in like Cyberpunk or Dark Souls or whatever. Faxanadu was more like we program some enemies to jump at you. You can stab them with your dagger and get them if you're lucky. Or, well, there's this big gargoyle you're going to have to face. You can learn to jump around its fire, or you can learn the death spell or get the magic shield, In a way, it is kind of catering to different options or giving you maybe possibly replay options as far as like, oh, I tried it this way where I just tried to go at it without the shield. This time I'm going to ground and get that shield, see if it's different, That looking at it from like the developer's standpoint, I could see them thinking like, oh, players will maybe try these different ways or whatever. Not where it's like, this is a puzzle that has to be solved this way. But I'm with you too, Shane, where it's like, it's kind of like, oh, you're sort of pigeonholing me into making this decision here, like making me do this thing ad nauseum or adding on. That's probably where like the developers don't know exactly like who's going to enjoy this gameplay loop for an additional hour or two of gameplay to get the golds, to get the spell, versus like, oh, everybody's going to like enjoy this adventure we played for them, we developed for them. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm probably more like you, Chris, too, where I'm like, ooh, this spell is available to me if I just kill these same 3 dwarves over and over again, and I can get kind of into a groove, get into like a flow state, and grind out the golds real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, like, to get that little, dopamine hit of like, ooh, we got a spell. Let's see if I can take him out faster now or whatever. Or yeah, maybe it'll make the next challenge a little easier because I put in the effort and I'll be rewarded for that. So yeah, I'm with you.
Well, let's move on to the graphical presentation of Faxanadu. Shane, let's kick off with you first. How did you think Faxanadu presented itself graphically? Its visuals.
Yeah, it's very brown. There's a lot of brown.
Yes.
I mean, it's a limited color palette, so, do with that what you will, I guess. I think maybe I kind of wish there was a little bit more variety, although there were some cool things that it did do. So, I don't, for the life of me, I don't remember what the actual name of the town is, but it's the one where you basically everything's covered in mist, like that whole area. That's pretty cool because you kind of have that sort of like transparency effect going on with the mist covering like basically the whole level area leading up to said town. So that definitely changes things up for sure. But overall, it's like fine. I don't know. Like, I think the biggest thing that stands out to me, which we kind of just mentioned a few minutes ago, was the fact that, the gear that you buy, specifically the shields, the sword, and the body armor, so all of the equipment really, shows up on your character, which is something that was not at all common. Like, we take that for granted now because it's like, yeah, you buy fucking skins for $9.99 for every game you play. But back then, equipping items was just like, okay, well, I did a thing in a text menu and now statistically my character is better. And there's no visual indication of that at all. Whereas this one, there is. And because there's only like 5 or 6, swords and pieces of armor and what have you, having those change whenever you equip them again is a more like impactful and meaningful thing. And it's just cool. It's like a visual, sense of progression for your character where you look more prepared for your adventure every time you get something new. So I do really appreciate that about it. I will say that this, much like other games on the NES, definitely suffers from some slowdowns in certain parts. When you start to get a sufficient number of different sprites on the screen at any one time, particularly I noticed this happens with some of the bigger enemies where when you kill them and they drop like a handful of different coins, all of those coin sprites spawning more or less the same time, plus like the little effect that happens to where it looks like they're kind of like exploding out.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, if there are other enemy sprites on the screen, there are a few cases where that happens, the game does suffer some pretty gnarly slowdown, but fortunately it's pretty, brief once you pick up all the coins and everything. But not entirely unexpected, like I said, so it's whatever. But yeah, I mean, apart from the gear stuff, which I think is nifty, like I don't know, I feel like there's not too much else going on here. I feel like a lot of it feels kind of samey, where sometimes some things will kind of start blending with one another, especially like within the same sort of like distinct areas of the game. But yeah, I don't know. Mostly fine. The character portraits for the NPCs are entertaining.
I would say it's mostly average.
No.
Like when I found out this game was made in 1987, that makes it make more sense. like with the overall kind of aesthetic, how it's designed, how things look. It has a lot of this like Wizards and Warriors look to it too. Maybe slightly better. It reminds me a lot of that game, or a lot of Western approaches to game for the NES, especially in the fantasy setting. You're getting a lot of that. But like, again, if you want to compare it to the games that this is most compared to in terms of Zelda 2 and Castlevania 2, I think both of those two games look much better than this game. I think it has its own stylistic choices that it does, and I'm not saying it's bad in terms of its stylistic choice, but I do think it mostly comes off average. I think a lot of the enemy sprites, they don't look good. I think the animations from the enemies are extremely limited and almost comical in a way. Like they didn't put a ton of effort into making sure that this had a lot of polish in terms of its presentation. I do think you're right. Like the color palette, it's not always jiving. It doesn't look, it's not exactly pleasing to the eyes, even when you have some cool effects like the mist. And when this game came here in the West in 1989, if you compare it to what was coming out in 1989 at the same time, like it has some of the same things that I don't like about it, like Ninja Gaiden's visual effects, where the background kind of blends in a little too much with the colors. But I do think a game like Ninja Gaiden looks significantly better. I certainly think a game like Mega Man 2 looks significantly better. And those are two games that came out the same year as Faxanadu arrived here in the United States. So it makes it really hard to kind of come out and say, yeah, this game looks good, when it really doesn't compare to a lot of its contemporaries. It really feels like it's in that kind of middle ground, that lost middle ground of NES releases, where Nintendo wanted to focus on the Famicom disk system that, of course, didn't come out here in the United States, where you had a little bit more graphic fidelity. They could have more space because of that. So you had like those early Famicom black box titles that had so much limited space, they couldn't really do much with it. And then they had those FDS games that they were able to do more. But then once they figured out like MMCs or something, mapper chips, they were able to even expand that space more. So you were able to get more graphically impressive games like a Kirby's Adventure or a Mario 3 or the various things to do with Mega Man. But you had that like weird in between generation. And that's kind of where Faxanadu falls. And I think that's the biggest explanation, where, yeah, like you can see they're trying to do some cool things here. But it doesn't really look that good. You can tell there's an improvement from early Famicom games, but it's not where it would end up. And it doesn't really have the simplicity those early ones do too. Also, I'm cracking up at the fact that every character in this game is smoking a cigarette, pretty much. Every single fucking one.
I was going to bring that up at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. All of the vendors are toking it up. It's great.
The key maker looks particularly like miserable.
Yeah. Just having a drag.
Yeah. Like the pig in what's it called?
Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy, yes. Like
yeah. The smoking pig.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was leaning toward kind of a good, not great, before you started elaborating there, Chris. Now I'm maybe in like a fine, not great, or fine, not good.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, they're fine. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some I think we're in that middle ground, or maybe even on the very edge of that like early inspiration for video games, where we're still kind of like, we're pulling from like mythology or like really old artwork to design our monsters and things in fantasy, you know? So like Japanese mythology, North mythology. And so when we get them in North America, that's kind of cool. That's kind of different for us, you know, to see those things that aren't recognizable to us. So there is kind of like the sort of mushroom monsters and things with different hoods and robes or whatever. Yeah, and I was trying to think of like comparing other contemporary games when we're talking about like the armor and the weapons and what changes, so like in Final Fantasy, for example, like weapons would change occasionally, I believe. As you equip different weapons, they might look different as you attack. What sort of dynamic changes for your equipment as you were talking about the armor and the weapons and stuff like that. I was trying to think of that kind of stuff that we would see in sort of contemporaneous games. So yeah, overall I'm with you. Kind of an okay, not bad. And again, trying to think of this like the development mindset, so they were trying to create this Xanadu for the Famicom game, right? So like, where do we develop things or put our energy, So like the story, they didn't put a ton of effort into. Graphically, I don't know that they put a ton of effort into. They probably gameplay wise and like the moving around and like exploring the area. That was probably in my mind where they put a lot of the effort to. And maybe the music, maybe they just got lucky and hired a good composer. I don't know. We'll get to that in a second, but
yeah, I think we're just about to.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd probably lean a little more positive than I think I hear the two of you sounding.
Why are the characters' eyes so big, by the way? all the human characters' eyes are just massive. They're sprites. Like, you look at their eyes, they're like oversized. They're gigantic.
Okay. Yeah, look at this.
Especially like the Noah guy, the guy at the springs. Like, you look at their sprites, their eyes are huge. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It looks weird.
Yeah.
It does. Anything else we need to add to the visuals?
No, I think we covered it.
Let's get into the sound. Now, you said that you were going to talk about the music there, Ashton. So you can kick this off. What did you think of the game's audio appeal?
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't know that I have too much to say other than this soundtrack really stuck with me. Like I don't know. I just something about it felt like the things you want to work really well in a game, which is just like be a good composition, like objectively speaking, but be like meet, like when it comes to video games, meet the feeling or the theme, the feeling of what you're doing in the game. Like it just felt so like adventurous and fantasy to me when I first heard it, and it just always stuck with me for some reason, that I just always loved this soundtrack. Like it was maybe the thing that, all the other things aside, the okay graphics, the like, the gameplay is like, okay, it's not super engaging or rewarding, but I really enjoy hearing this music just over and over and over again. Mainly the main theme that I think of, like going out and like leaving the city and like fighting the enemies, that area, like that has always just stuck with me. That what I consider the main Faxanadu song was just so good that it elevated this game for me. Like a lot of NES titles that are good, like Mega Man, the Batman game, some even the Dragon Warrior to some extent, like just that immersive and thematic music that I enjoyed made me want to keep playing it and keep grinding out enemy encounters or levels. I just enjoyed it so much.
Oh, so you're a big fan.
And I don't even know if I could say overall the soundtrack's amazing. It's just that one. It's one of those where, like, some people say like the Mega Man 2 soundtrack, for example, has some awesome songs and some okay songs. The awesome songs make it feel like an amazing soundtrack overall. For me, this one song, I don't know. But I mean, overall, I think it's just is a great soundtrack. That I just like, that makes me excited to like hear that soundtrack and play the game. Yeah. Maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe it's whatever, but I don't know. I just love it.
I'm sorry, Ashton, that I'm going to have to disagree with you.
That's fine.
I will give it one thing. I will say that it's catchy because that initial, I think that song you're talking about, like when you go out and start fighting enemies for the first time when you're away from a town, that's stuck in my damn head.
Yeah.
Like it won't leave my head. It's catchy. It's very catchy. I don't even necessarily, this is, let me kind of try to establish a foundation here.
Sure.
I'm not calling the soundtrack bad. That's not what I'm trying to disagree with you. I'm saying more the sound selection and the channel selection that the game used. It again, it's one of those things that makes me feel about the soundtrack as a whole the same way I feel about the graphics. It's fine. It's catchy. It's appropriate. It doesn't offend me. But again, I think you can look around to so many other NES games and I could be like, oh, wow, like this fucking slaps. Like it's just superior in almost every other way in how they utilize the sound channels, how they contrast the rhythm in each section of the musical progression or how it matches with the scenery per se. And I just like Faxanadu. I said Faxanadu. Oh no!
Got him.
Yeah, damn it. But Faxanadu's soundtrack, it's one of those things to me that just kind of exists, and I think it's more the sound quality that gets to me more than the composition itself, because I just don't think that the channel selection and how it makes up the song makes it sound all that particularly good, especially when you have such a basis and foundation to select from in terms of what makes the NES chiptune music so special. It doesn't make it there for me. It's kind of like how I feel about, I don't know why I'm talking about this, but I am. Sure. Final Fantasy VII soundtrack, which I think the compositions of Final Fantasy VII are fantastic, but because there's such a synth MIDI feel to Final Fantasy VII, I think it holds back its true potential. Which you do see in like later remixes. And I get that same feeling from Faxanadu. Yeah, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me there. A little bit of a hot take.
I might disagree.
But that's I disagree with you. Yeah. So this is where we're at. Yeah. But that's where I'm at with the soundtrack of Faxanadu mostly. So I guess, Shane, you're going to have to be a decider here. You have said that it is one of your favorite soundtracks ever for this Nintendo in the past. I remember you saying that before. What? So how did you feel about coming out of it this time?
What the fuck are you talking about?
You have said it. You have, because you said it. I remember you said it once. That's how we ended up here, because you're like, Faxanadu, yeah, I'm really impressed with the soundtrack. I'm like, oh, interesting. That got me hyped to play this game.
I don't recall saying that ever. I think
fine.
this is...
Maybe it was a dream.
Stand with it. Yeah. Dude, that's fine.
Maybe it was a dream.
This is fake news.
Alternative facts.
Yeah.
Kind of the dark side.
Okay, so I don't think that is my approach to it, and I don't think it ever was. But I will say that I actually lean more in Ashton's direction on this one.
Oh.
It is not one of the best. I will put that right out there. But I actually generally really like this soundtrack. There's a couple where I'm just like, I could probably do without that one. But by and large, I actually think it's pretty good. Like, I really like that initial World Tree theme that Ashton was talking about. I will say that the second World Tree, like overworldy kind of theme, is not as good. But that first one, I think, is definitely a banger for sure. The Misty Cave track, I also really do like, because it's it does capture that sort of pseudo ominous kind of ambiance really, really well. It actually reminds me a lot of Lavender Town from Pokemon. It's got the same vibes, which makes sense, because in a lot of ways this does feel very similar. It's like this sort of like almost ethereal, misty kind of cave, whereas Lavender Town is the town of ghosts and spirits, so it kind of tracks. So I did really like that. I found an interesting thing that I think I should point out just for an appreciation point for, the composer of this. And that is that it's called the dungeon theme, if I'm looking at the correct titling for the OST, but it's really more of like the theme that plays when you come across what the game decides is a boss, because it's never really 100% clear on what is or is a boss sometimes.
Sure.
Except for that musical cue. And so that track, the later part of the game when you're in, I think it's called like Dartmoor's Castle or something. That castle theme is basically the same or extremely similar composition to that like boss theme, except kind of like cranked up a bit more, like it's got more meat to it. And so that like through line, that sort of compositional through line between those two, I think is really smart. So I do appreciate that aspect as well. Like I said, there's a couple where I could kind of take it or leave it, but by and large, I actually think it does a really good job of kind of nailing the correct atmospheres for the different areas of the game. Like the fucking music for the shop, that is a shop ass theme if I've ever heard a shop theme.
Yeah.
So I mean, it works. It does what it needs to do. Like the town themes are pretty good too. So no, like, is it the best like soundtrack on the NES? No, but I think it's extremely competently done. Like I actually, by and large, I like it quite a bit.
By the way, the composer for Faxanadu was June Chikamura, who is the composer for the Bomberman series.
Yes.
All right.
And Bomberman,
there you go.
Lots of Hudson Soft stuff.
mostly Bomberman.
Yeah. And
Which
Metro
is-
Island.
Yeah. And the Legendary Axe.
Yeah.
Did they? Yeah, they did Adventure Island originally, yeah. Bomberman has a lot of good tracks, for sure. All right, so I think we'll have to lean into our patrons, what they think, or even our listeners, and see what they think about the sound in general. Now that we've said it, they can settle the debate here and tell me I'm right, I'm sure. Or just tell me I'm horribly wrong. But we're going to get into what our patrons have to say about, well, the game in general here. And you can do this too if you head over to our link tree, which is linktr.ee/retrohangover. Become a patron for as little as $1 a month and share your thoughts on the game du jour in our Patreon. I've gotten better about posting them. I'm starting to post them more consistently. So you can share your thoughts there. Or where I always post your opportunity to share your pontifications over in the Discord, which you can join for free. We do have a section called Patron Pontifications for our patrons to post. And that's where all of our comments came from this week, even though I did post in the Patreon that you could share your thoughts there. So what did they think? We're going to start with Lucas from Game Over Hell, who says, I'd like Falcom, but the game looked tremendously unappealing on stream. Let's see if this episode convinces me to try it. That is my pontification. Thank you, Lucas.
All right. Next on our list, we have Lethco of the Afterglow podcast, who tells us it's not bad for its time. The controls are a bit mushy, but what you have to do can be cryptic, but that was more or less par for the course for many NES adventure games of the era. Legend of Zelda is considered a classic, yet requires you to bomb random spots and burn random bushes with no clue as to why. This game isn't quite as cryptic as all that. Also, apparently, the plural form of gold is golds. Thanks, Faxanadu. And thank you, Lethco.
Yeah, thanks for golds. I'll agree with Lethco there. It's not very obtuse. It's not cryptic. That was a positive quality for this game, I would have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Except for that pendant. They didn't tell you there was a bug.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Different
Should've done
bugs
that.
they forgot to mention. Yeah.
Yeah, they forgot to mention there was a bug.
Next, we have a pontification from Mast Keaton. That's not how mantras work. Oh well. At least the free money trick was awesome. Thanks, Mast Keaton.
Next is the Emperor, who says the Emperor has never played this, but it was interesting watching you stream it on Twitch, especially when the cartridge took a dump on the stream.
Mm.
Yeah, that happened. Thanks, Emperor.
Next up, we have the one and only Alt, who says, I haven't played Faxanadu myself, but my friend played it in high school because he liked Zelda 2. I'm just going to take the moment to promote playing more Falcom games and jumping into Legend of Heroes now that Trails in the Sky is accessible on modern systems. Fantastic. Thank you for that plug, Alt.
That went a lot of places in a short time.
Yeah, except it's a Hudson Soft game.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's based off a Falcom game, and Falcom's related a little bit. But yes, play more Falcom games.
Next up, first patron saint, Lyle. Never heard of it. Sounds French. Smooches.
All right. Next is Omi, who says Faxanadu is great. I just wish I could duck.
Yes.
I don't think it's necessary.
It's fucking ankle biter, spiky motherfuckers.
You need to duck like Dark Souls needs a pause button.
I don't even know how to take that.
Interesting.
We need to add a dodge roll to Faxanadu. That's what it is.
Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yep.
All
right, we have Randall next. Who says, "What the fuck is this? And why does it look sick as hell?"
There you go.
Looks might be deceiving, maybe. Randall, I don't know.
There's a chalk in the graphics category.
Yeah, there you go. And it's definitely not the age-old bait and switch of really kick-ass box artwork that just turns around and disappoints you later. I don't know. Anyway, thanks, Randall. We always appreciate your contribution.
Okay, and finally we have Super Dave from Anime Field Guide, who says, "Get with the times. We all moved to
Emailnadu.
We all moved to Emailnadu a long time ago, buddy." Oh, I get it. Wow, that took me way longer than it should have.
Hey, listen, there are definitely still some government entities and other businesses that require Faxanadus, okay?
Yeah.
I had to explain facts to my children the other day. And
Bill's probably still be doing it at some antiquated ass bank. All right. So now it's time to talk about whether or not we think this game holds up today. As is tradition, as we are wont to do, we let myself and Shane go first, and then our guest gets the final word. Technically, we don't technically have a guest. We have an Ashton, who is somewhere in between on this case. But because, once again, he is not a regular appearer on this show, he will get the final word. So, Shane, does Faxanadu hold up today?
I mean, not really. I don't know. Like, I feel like I would be overly harsh to just say straight up absolutely not, because as I did say earlier, I actually did enjoy my time with it up until the completely unnecessary fucking gargoyle ass dwarf tag team. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like if you're going to play it, just play it like the way that I did with some quick saves, or play it on the virtual console or something like that. Because unless you've got the time, man, like, I mean, is it a short game? Yes. If you know exactly what you need to do, you're not doing any unnecessary backtracking for rebuying keys or hauling your ass back to a town to heal yourself because you're taking a bunch of cheap shots or what have you. Like, I like what this game is trying to do. I actually really do. But there are just some points that are just like really frustrating to me. And so it's kind of like a soft no, I think. I know it's kind of wishy-washy, but It really depends. Like, it's not just a blanket statement for everybody. I feel like this one is a little bit more nuanced in that if you are of the, some type of way as a gamer where you are up for taking that more like retro kind of approach to things of like, yeah, I'm going to set aside time to replay entire sections of a game because I have to restart at the guru or what have you, then sure, like it could probably be a good time. But I don't know, man. I guess with me being kind of under the same sort of time, crunch that Chris and I usually are, I kind of just got to that point where I was like, this is no longer worth my time. So it's kind of a hard one to really nail down for me, but I think it's a soft no, but if you can kind of stomach some of the, idiosyncrasies of a game that is attempting to do something like this at the time, in this era, then, maybe there's something to get out of it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. I'm almost of the exact same mental wavelength that Shane is. I'm probably a little bit harsher. Not, and a little, I'm both, I think, simultaneously harsher and more gracious to this game than Shane is, oddly. Because I think in terms of how this game is designed, how the world is built, how you can navigate through it. Yes, it has that weird key thing, but once you understand how keys work, it's not that big of a deal to get around it and deal with the game on that front. But I love the fact that here you have a game that's open world that isn't a pain in the ass to necessarily navigate through once you learn how things are connected. The concepts are all there. Like the skeleton is there. A lot of the flesh, the muscles is there. It is so close to me saying unquestionably, yes, this is a fantastic game. But the thing that's going to make me say no is just that there's too much jank. It's too janky. Every single time I think about like climbing up a ladder, my dog's going crazy because he knows I'm thinking about the ladders. When you every single time I'm trying to climb up a ladder, I'm dreading doing it just because getting off the ladder, it just never feels right. Attacking doesn't ever really feel right. Enemy encounters, sometimes I would get hit and I wouldn't know why, my health would just drain for random reasons and have more damage than in other conditions that I wouldn't completely understand. Hit detection was kind of all over the place. So it because of and jumping, oh my God, jumping sucks. And because of all these things, just the jankiness to it, it's hard to recommend it. If they could clean up, if there was a version of this game where the controls were cleaned up and it was more precise or tighter as the original Castlevania or Castlevania 3. If you take Castlevania 3's controls and you put them in this game, this is an easy 100%, yeah, go fucking play this game. But it doesn't have that. So I have to recognize what it does have. And Faxanadu is just kind of too janky in its approach and its controls and combat for me to confidently say yes and lean more into the no side, say no, it doesn't hold up. But not because there isn't a good game here. It's just that it's never a comfort to play. It feels like I'm always struggling to make it through the game. And sometimes it just feels unfair, not because of the game's design per se, but because controlling the character is prohibitively, unappealing. And that's more of my stance on that. So that's why it's no. Ashton, this is kind of your game here for this episode.
Sure.
What say you on the final word?
Yeah, I think Shane pretty much said exactly what I was thinking. That it's a soft, not really, an unfortunate, sorry, but no. And yeah, as you were talking, it's like if this game were developed a year or two later, then yeah, maybe it would have been up there with some of the more classic games we think on the NES. As much as I love the soundtrack and have enjoyed the overall presentation, the gameplay really, really holds it back. And so, yeah, does that hold up, or would I recommend it to anyone? I mean, only if you've exhausted a lot of other NES titles and are looking for something else to play from 1989, 87, whatever. Yeah, it sounds like it's not really from all three of us. Yeah, the best parts of this game can probably be experienced from watching it or listening to it, unfortunately. Yeah, it comes with a heavy caveat to have a recommend. If you're really struggling, to be like, I played Zelda, I played Castlevania, I need something else on the Nintendo Entertainment System to play. Then yeah, have you tried Faxanadu? Yeah, go try that. So yeah, it's an unfortunate, not really for me. That's an answer.
Well, I think we're all kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
As you said, Ashton. There you are. All right. Unfortunately, Faxanadu, now I'm calling it Faxanadu because it got nose, does not stand the test of time, or maybe it was just it's just not something we find appealing today.
It's cool that it was released, but
yeah,
not for
yeah,
everybody,
I'm sure
probably.
I would say something different in 1990 or 1989.
Yeah,
but we're no longer there, unfortunately, in many ways. Or, who knows? Some people are happier now. But I don't know. Why am I talking about this? What I should be talking about is thank you, Ashton, for reappearing on the show instead of just being the man behind the curtain. So to thank you again for being here. And do you have any place? I know that you have a stream where people might be able to find you, and do you have anything else that you want people to be able to find you on the internet?
Sure. Thanks for inviting me. Always glad to like a wild Pokemon show up and join you two awesome individuals that I know.
Super effective.
Yeah. So yeah, currently my most active thing content creation wise is the Twitch stream account that myself and my sibling are doing, called Sibling Mode on twitch.tv. We're streaming indie games, RPGs, things like that. We like doing voices for, narrative games that don't have voiceover. That's one of our strong suits. But currently we're just playing kind of weird indie games that we enjoy, like Barony. We played a tavern simulator recently. So check that out if you want to just hang out with me and my sibling who grew up playing video games, and we try to make jokes and silly voices and stuff like that on Twitch. That's Sibling Mode on Twitch. I had a podcast I was doing briefly called Pod Curious, where I was just interviewing podcasters and talking to them about their podcasts. Think of it as like a Patreon bonus episode of the behind the scenes kind of thing. If you want to check that out. But that's it. Yeah, mostly these days also editing retro hangover podcasts. That's my steady gig, as it were. It's a great community. Check out, as you'll elaborate on in a moment here, check out our Discord. Lots of cool people there. But yeah, that's mostly it. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Shane. I guess it's our turn, which means it's your turn. What do you have for the fine people?
It is that time once again. Well, as Ashton pointed out, like he knows us or something.
Oh,
we have stuff that we got to tell you about. We are contractually and legally obligated to let you know that we have a link tree. So if you want to check out more of our stuff, whether this is your first time on the show, in which case, hello, welcome, or we hope that you enjoyed this episode. Or if you're joining us for the 100th time, and you're probably sick of hearing me say this.
The 400th
We got a
time.
link tree. Yeah. So all our stuff is at linktr.ee/retro hangover, whether that is this here feed of the show or the aforementioned Patreon, or perhaps the open and public and free to join Discord, which is always poppin', as the kids said 30 years ago or something. So you should check that out. Lots of great discussions happening there all the time. And we also have a merch store should you wish to rep the show in that way. We also have socials that you can check out. And perhaps more importantly, we have a YouTube and a Twitch channel where we sort of now randomly and sporadically stream games. And it's mostly Chris, but I get in there when I can. And so if you want to see middle-aged men play games at an acceptable-ish level most of the time, then you should definitely check that out. Chris, is there anything that you would like to let the fine people know before we let them cycle to the next podcast in their backlog list?
Yes, make sure that if you're interested in contributing to charities, if that's something you like to do, we still have our Final Fantasy V 4-Job Fiesta campaign going until the end of August, until August 31st. So if you are so inclined, there's a link in some of our stuff's description. I don't know if it's in the episode description, but it is on our YouTube episode descriptions right now, anything that came out during the 4-Job Fiesta. And it should still be in our Twitch descriptions, so go check that out there. And of course, it is in our announcements in our Discord channel. It is for the Children's Center for the Visually Impaired, and so far we've raised a few dollars. And I still intend on matching up to $500 of the donations. So let's make this the biggest year. Right now, it technically is, once I throw in the Patreon money and my own money to match. But yeah, let's see if we can get a little bit more for the CCVI. It's going to be running till the end of August, so go check that out.
Excellent. Well, I dare say, with all of that now having been said, until the next time,
play with your winged boot Zenith joysticks.
All right, welcome to another brief history where there just really isn't much to say about a game's development. But I guess that means that we should answer some of you who may not know, or what the fuck is this sentence that you wrote? But I guess that means that we should answer some of you who may not know are asking. What in the actual fuck is that?
Let me edit this. That we should answer.
See, this is what happens when I don't do an editorial pass on this, and then you complain.
You may not know that you're asking a question, and that question is
I just had a stroke. I don't even know what.
It's not the fact you do an editorial pass, Shane. It's the way you do it.
Yeah, the easy way.
And then you don't do an editorial pass of that.
Nope, I don't.
Because then we had to say once, the N64, the undisputed champion of North America. Let's just ignore the PlayStation for 5 seconds. Okay. All right, go for it, Shane. Hopefully that's a better sentence.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start the whole thing over. That was like the second sentence.
Yes, it was.
Much how Dragon Quest would simply. Bleh. Much how Dragon Quest. Good lord.
Dragon cleft palate.
Dragon Quest. Fuck.
Oh boy.
Not much is listed about how Faxanadu was I'm almost there. I'm so close.
See, Randall, he gets drunk.
Yeah. It's not just because I'm stupid and stumbling over words. This usually doesn't happen this often.
Drunk.
Shane here with a quick message. You know, the one rule Chris and I have always gone by regarding advertisements is this. It has to be something we use and can personally vouch for. If you know me, you know I love coffee. And Bones Coffee Company has been my go-to for home brewing for quite some time now. Their small batch beans come in an impressive variety of flavors like Mint Invaders from Chocolate Space, or Electric Unicorn, which I swear tastes exactly like Fruity Pebbles. And the best part? No added sugar or calories involved, just natural flavors infused right into the beans themselves. Build your own sample pack of 5 4-ounce bags to find out which flavors speak to you, or jump in headfirst with full 12-ounce bags. They've even got K-Cups. Step up your homebrew game with Bones Coffee by visiting bit.ly/RHPBones. That's bit.ly/RHPBONES.